Moving on, a seasoned brand strategist is bringing his expertise to the Philippines. On Friday, that's tomorrow, Sweathead CEO Mark Pollard will hold a masterclass on effectively conveying your brand message to your target audience. Today, we're joined by Mark himself in the studio to discuss what participants can expect to learn. Hi, Mark. Thank you so much for joining us on the Business Dojo.
Stanley, first day in Manila. I'm here. I'm so excited.
Yeah, I know you just flew in and you're buckling down to work right away, talking about branding and how important it is for a lot of businesses and organizations and even brands to be more conscious, to be more aware of, brand essence and how they communicate this brand essence. Why is it important?
Well, from a business point of view, branding or being good at brand helps you earn money. So what we find is that in a lot of categories, if you don't take care of your brand in the future, you don't have very good cash flow. So that's really where the conversation needs to be. Unfortunately, over the past few years, the conversation's often about pretty pictures, cute words, outsourcing the stuff for very cheap, as opposed to seeing brand as central to marketing and marketing as central to business.
Okay, so this requires a lot of planning. Do you see that on a lot of businesses right now? I mean, they look forward to 10 years from now how the brand should be carried, or they just let it, evolve into something else? Because a lot of businesses in the Philippines seem to be going in that direction. They launch a brand, and then they evolve into something else in the future,
which is totally
they don't care about it.
Totally fine. I think in emerging markets, sometimes if there's a lot of growth, you could be tempted not to have any discipline around what you do because you're earning money anyway. And it's only when crisis happens or things slow down that people think, oh, what levers aren't we pulling? And then brand could be one of those levers. In mature markets like, say, the US and the UK, there's a sort of a stagnation going on right now. There's a lot of layoffs and unemployment, broadly speaking, in the industry of what we're talking about, especially with marketing. But there can be long-term planning, but the past decade there's been focus on a lot of short-term tactics instead of long-term thinking.
And you're pushing for a strategy. It's called a 4-point framework. Ideas, you have insights, you have strategy, and of course why brands need to use the right words and need to use these words better. Let's tackle them one by one. Ideas first. What is this?
An idea is a novel and useful combination of things that don't usually belong together. So you take topic A and topic B, you put it together, that's an idea. Ideas create new value creates new meaning. So that's really what an idea is, and there's a lot of work that's been done on this by people such as Edward de Bono.
And insight. It is important as well that you know how to write or express insight.
It's very useful. When it comes to branding or advertising, what's most important is causing an emotional reaction in people, which dramatic music can do, but insights can also do them. Insights in my world are unspoken human truths. They're things that help us see ourselves and the world around us differently.
Okay, and of course it's equally important for businesses and brands to process that insight, build strategy out of that insight. Tell us about strategy now.
Yeah, you would hope so. So the way I define the word strategy is that strategy is an informed opinion about how to win. You need information. If you only have information, you're reporting, but you also need an opinion, an argument. You're guessing the future. And even if you're McKinsey or Boston Consulting Group, you're still kind of guessing the future. But all of that together is about hopefully improving your chances of succeeding in the future.
And of course, once you have that clarity about your brand, it is easy to communicate.
You would hope
to your audience. You're right.
You would hope so. But there's so many people are doing this stuff with, like, there are 50 people doing a sentence together, right? In a lot of businesses, a lot of businesses are too bureaucratic.
Brainstorming sessions.
Yeah. Let alone if they're working in a shared document, 50 people are putting multiple comments in the one document, so a one-page document turns into a 10-page document. So there's a lot of sort of fussiness and bureaucracy that's out there, and I think it's very hard for a lot of people in established businesses especially to just get out of the way.
Yeah. Okay, you also have a book, by the way. You're putting all of these together. You have a book. Let me get that right. It's
Strategy is Your Words.
Strategy in Your Words.
Yeah.
That's correct. What's the gist of that book, and what does it cover?
So I raised about $37,000 on Kickstarter 6 or 7 years ago, just before the pandemic, and I knew I wanted to write a book about strategy, and I knew I had to use the word strategy or people on the internet don't pay attention to me, and I constantly talk about words, so I had to do something with that. So it's called Strategy is Your Words. Half of it is about the strange people who do this work for a living.
Yeah.
We're all a little bit weird, we're students, we're quirky, a little bit neurotic, and then the second half is the practical techniques that people can apply in their day jobs.
All right, which brings me to our main point, the Masterclass. It is happening tomorrow. Tell us more about what people can expect from the Masterclass. How do they participate and even learn?
Totally. You know, well, also what's funny is I flew into Manila today and I saw one building and I was like, oh, that's a really interesting building. That's the building where the Masterclass is happening. It's happening at SMX Aura. Okay. And so we have 2 sessions. We'll have about 250 people. Very practical. You'll hear some Australian accented, hilarious jokes, and then you'll also hear some very practical techniques. I get people to run through about 15 exercises in 3 to 4 hours. It's fun, it's unusual, and people can find out details at sweathead.com.
And what do you think are the key takeaways from the session?
Oh, I talk a lot about words and how sometimes what you need to do rather than having a 100-slide deck or a 50-page document is to build your thinking around a word, a short phrase or a sentence. And so a lot of my techniques about getting people to that point of clarity so they can communicate more effectively.
And at this point, you said you already have hundreds participating tomorrow. Are there still slots open? For
there are.
Those who are interested
We moved to a bigger room, and what I appreciate about the experience here is I was hoping to get a little corner of a WeWork space with 30 people, and I think we could have, with a little bit more notice, had 300 to 400 people. It's blown me away.
And this is a physical experience. There's no online.
It's just physical. Yeah, because I like to. It's a bit of theatre. It's theatrical teaching. So I like that to be in person because it has a different energy.
All right. And for those interested, how do they reach you? Your organizers, how can they join?
Well, you're welcome to DM me at Mark Pollard on Instagram, or you can go to sweathead.com to find out more information.
All right, Mark Pollard, thank you so much for joining.
Thank you so much for having me.
It's a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you, sir.